You know, I just tested positive. G-A-M-E.
Well, here at Online Big Blue, we tested negative, which is always a good thing. This is Tim. This is Online Big Blue. This is bringing the best of New York Giants sports talk entertainment. We had the big win yesterday against the Carolina Panthers. We had some good things to talk about. We got some interesting things to talk about. We got some reoccurring themes that we probably need to address as well. But you got to give the Giants a big shout out. It was an ugly game. It was a brutal game to watch. And it was just one of those games that, you know what, this is a game that the Giants normally lost in years past. This is a game that we would usually mark in the loss column. But you know what? It was a win. We're 2-0. I love how everyone says we're first in the NFC East. Well, yes, technically that is true because the Eagles haven't played yet. But it's an excitement nevertheless. There's something about this team on the defense. There's a little bit of an aura. Not harkening back to the days of yore. We're not looking back at at 86. We're not going like that. We're not going back out. We're not even going back to the 90s, the 1990 team. But this is a team that has shown on defense, especially, that when it needs to make the plays, when it needs to make the stops, it can get off the field. That was an issue that we had last year, that we could never get off the field on third down. This year is a little bit different. This year is a little bit fun. You have the Wink attack. You know what? I'm not bashing Patrick Graham. But Wink has something different about him. Wink has an understanding. He has a flow for the game. He understands that there is times to show the blitz, there's time to bring the blitz, and there's just time just to lay back and let things happen. And I will also give the Wink credit to this, and I will give Daboll credit for this 100%. They understand that if you are not doing your job, if you are not pulling your weight, if you are not performing, no matter who you are being moved on from. When the Panthers figured out how to get after Cordell Flott, when they figured it out after the big touchdown to DJ Moore, what do they do in the second half, the Giants? They bring in Fabian Monroe. Now, I'm not saying that Fabian Monroe, again, is Mike Haynes. I'm not saying he's Perry Williams. I'm not saying he's Corey Webster. But he's more of a professional, seasoned player. And not even really that much seasoned, but he's a professional, seasoned player. And he stepped in, and he did what had to be done, and he helped shut down both DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, which is great. I mean, which is fantastic. You also have to give big kudos to Julian Love. Julian Love was all over the field. He had 8 total tackles, Julian Love, right? And we've talked about this in the past multiple times. He had 8 total tackles with 8 total solo tackles. He also had a sack, a quarterback hit, and 2 tackles for a loss. We also need to give a big shout-out to Xavier McKinney, who also had a good game. We also got to give another shout-out to, Shane, can you see Zimenez? 2 tackles, 2 solo tackles. All of his tackles were solo tackles. 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 pass defense, and 1 quarterback hit. You would think that he was more all over the field than his stat line shows, but you know what? He had a good game, and like I said, I'm excited because I have an O'Shane Zimenez jersey. I bought it his rookie season. I might wear it on the next live stream. I don't know. But you know what? The defense fought hard. They played hard. And you have to give them credit for at times keeping this team in the game. You have to think about it this way. The Giants had 2 turnovers within the first 2 minutes of the game, or first 2 plays of the game. I should say 2 first plays by the Panthers. And we only came away with 6 points. There is something inherently wrong there, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. But you know what? I like the fact, and we've talked about this before, it's the accountability that Shane and Daboll and Wink put on their players. Once again, we saw Daboll call over Daniel Jones and go after him a little bit and basically tell him, hey, listen, dude, come on. You're better than this. You're missing wide open guys. Daniel Jones, 22 for 34, 176. He's averaging 5.2 yards a play, which is well below the league average of 7.5 to 8. 1 touchdown, 3 sacks, and a partridge in a pear tree. He also had 10 runs for 21 yards, 2.1 yards. His longest was 11. Daniel Jones is not going to surprise anymore with him running up the middle. He's not. He's going to have to do it with his athleticism, and you have to give him all the credit in the world for getting that big first down at the end of the game to seal the victory. You got to give him all the credit in the world for that. But once again, it wasn't until Saquon Barkley, and I got to give credit to Kafka too. It wasn't until Saquon Barkley turned on the Jets. It wasn't until Saquon Barkley found that extra gear in the second half. It wasn't until then did the offense look like an offense again and start moving forward. We cannot keep relying on Graham Gano. Graham Gano out of the 19 points had 12. So I mean, there's something inherently wrong with that. But we're gonna talk about the defense. I'm assuming the offense probably in another video later. But a big shout out to Saquon Barkley, who got it done when he needed to get done. This offense is going to roll through Saquon Barkley.
Let's roll!
That's what you have to. Thank you, Billy Bob. It's going to have to roll through Saquon. And can we please end the David Sills experiment? David Sills caught a first down pass at the end of the half and then proceeded to run backwards and cost the Giants a first down. Now, luckily, it was at the end of the half, and it didn't really mean a lot. But he cost them a first down by catching the ball well beyond the first down marker. Well beyond. But then proceeded to run backwards. That is something you do not see many NFL wide receivers doing. It's just time. And I know that there is something going on here that's inherently interesting with Kadarius Toney, with Kenny G, and Darius Slayton, because you're going with the likes of Richie James, David Sills, and Sterling Shepard. Now you got to kind of think to yourself, is Daniel Jones's issues compounded by the fact that he's got a wide receiving core of James, Sills, and Shepard when you have Kenny G and our old buddy Darius Slayton sitting on the bench? And evidently Kenny G left. He left the game. There's a cooling off period. There's a 10-minute cooling off period. And Willie G took his saxophone,
bringing you the smooth sounds of Kenny G. 72 million. Not worth it, as you can plainly see.
And left the locker room early. After his wonderful performance, he was only in there for a handful of plays, but you just have to kind of think to the fact, are the offensive woes also compounded by the fact that we don't really have what I would call professional wide receivers out there? Richie James has been in the league for 5 years. And yeah, he comes up with some big catches, but he still only had 5 catches for 51 for 10.2. His longest was 15. He was targeted 6 times. David Sills, 3 catches for 12.3. Longest one was 24, targeted 4 times. And Sterling Shepard, 6 for 34, 5.7. Longest for 12, targeted 10 times. I don't know. There's something there. And there's also something with Kadarius Toney. I don't know if Kadarius is hurt. I don't know if he still just doesn't get the playbook, but he looks beyond out of sync for this team. And I like I said, I don't know if it's a playbook issue. I don't know if it's a fluidity issue, but he just looks way out of sync. And now, as the Giants are 2-0 with this offense, I keep thinking to myself, maybe it's just me again being mean. Maybe it's just me not understanding what's going on. Maybe it's me. So I went on a bunch of newspapers, and a lot of newspapers, they give you the Giants grades for offense and defense. The highest grade, which I find interesting, for the Giants offense was a D, and that was from Giants Wire. And I laughed because I looked at it, and everything that I've been saying is what they've been saying. As for Jones, he completed 65% of his passes, 1 touchdown, no turnovers, but he did not change the game at the quarterback position. He only had 176 yards through the air, and the Duke product didn't see several open targets. Overall, the Giants were gifted with great field position several times and did not take advantage of it. If New York's offense plays a little more inspired, they would have been able to put the game away earlier. I agree 100%. Most places have given the Giants an F, the offense. Daniel Jones is still missing too many wide open receivers. He's not seeing the totality of the field. It's almost like he's looking at his first read option and then just checking down if it's not there. I'm not saying he's playing scared, but an NFL quarterback cannot throw for 160-something yards and then next week 176. That's not NFL. Look at what Tua did. Look at what all these quarterbacks around the league are doing. And then we look at ours. There is just something here that's not fundamentally right when you look at our quarterback situation. It's true, and let's all be honest about it. And like I said, I give Daniel Jones all the credit for that first down run at the end of the game. I do. I give him 100% credit. It was very athletic. He did what he was supposed to do. But he can't show up in the last 2 minutes of the game and have one good drive the entire game, which was a touchdown. This is something we're going to have to monitor going through the season because of the fact that if the Giants defense keeps playing well, now let's also put a caveat with the Giants defense playing well because of the fact that they did play against the Carolina Panthers, and the Carolina Panthers did not look good yesterday. Did not look good whatsoever. Baker Mayfield missed a lot of open guys. There was some throws that he probably should have made that probably would have went for touchdowns. But it was one of those things that, the defense did more than enough to win this game. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Because you can also go back to the fact that, what's his name? Luva? Was it Luva? Was that guy's name? The linebacker. He should have had that, and thank God he didn't. At the end of the half, that Daniel Jones throw, I don't know how he did not see the linebacker. And if he would have caught that ball, the linebacker for the Carolina Panthers would still be running. So you know what? We've got, and maybe Daboll's got the luck of the Irish. I don't know if he's Irish. Maybe he's got the luck of the Irish. Because you know what? You've seen some plays that normally would go against the Giants these last two games and haven't. The breaks have gone our way. And like I said, I love the fact that this whole situation is about accountability. And I think that's what we have to look at with Daboll. That's what you have to, and that's what you have to look at with Wink. You have to look at the accountability of this team and the players. And I'm not saying that the coach, two previous regimes that did not hold their players accountable, but you could see a difference. You can see a difference that Daboll does not have a problem going after a player or chastising a player when he thinks he's done something wrong. He doesn't have an issue with it. Wink Martindale has no problem pulling a player that's not performing up to expectations. And that's what that's going to be the word of the day. It's going to be accountability. And I'm very happy that the Giants, I love when people are like, well, you said the Giants were going to be bad this year, and look what we're 2-0. Great. And I want to say to them, hey, dumbasses, I got season tickets. I'm glad when the Giants win. I just point things out realistically. If I'm wrong, thank you. I'd rather be wrong and then be good than be right and then be bad. That's the way you got to look at it at the end of the day. Because hell, you know what? If, some miracle of mercy, they make the playoffs, I'm going to a playoff game. If it's a home game, I got tickets to go to a home playoff game. So I'd rather see them win and be wrong than see them lose and be right. We got a lot of fun shows coming up. Hopefully I'm going to be better by tomorrow because we're going to do the big stream with the Dahmer talking about this. We're going to find out about the Leonard Williams injury as well. He evidently left the locker room gimpy a little bit. He doesn't think it's anything spectacular. He doesn't think there's anything seriously wrong with himself. Hopefully we get Kayvon Thibodeau and Zizo Ojulari back for the Monday night game with Dallas and get that extra day of rest. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, reinvesting in your Giants Sports Talk Entertainment. And as always, if you could give subscribe. If you can ring that button, you know what it means.